the speaker box loud, hitting that stuff till you hearing that sound. Hitting that stuff till you hearing that sound.
Is there really a plugin that is the secret sauce? The easy button?
That was easy.
Something you could just lay over your files and be like magic? Okay, maybe I'm being a little drastic. The plugin I'm talking about is an amazing plugin, and you can get some amazing looking images and video with just a little bit of work. So the other week, I'm just starting my normal daily routine, checking my emails, going through my mass amounts of spam email, and either deleting them or marking them as spam. And trust me, when you've run a business as long as I have, or probably anybody, the spam can be insane. And so I came across an email that caught my eye, and at first I didn't know if it was real. I just assumed that it was another spam email. And the reason I didn't think it was real at first is because the headline said something about YouTube, and I'm thinking, I have no channel following. I'm a very small YouTuber. Who would be emailing me asking me to do something for YouTube? And, you know, but then I got excited thinking, hey, I got my first sponsorship, but we'll pump the brakes on that. But I did get an email from a company called Dehancer, and they reached out to me offering to give me their plugin and a discount code to offer my mass amount of followers that I do have on YouTube. And just if I would do a review for the plugin that they have built. And I've known about Dehancer. I have used another film emulation plug, and we'll get into that a little bit. But I do know who Dehancer is. When reaching out, Dehancer wanted me to do a review for their video stuff. But after learning a little bit more about them, we had got to talking, and I had decided that I was going to do a video, which is this video, about the review for their video emulation, film emulation plugin, and they also have one for photography. And since I do both video and photography, I thought, hey, this would be a good opportunity to review a couple plugins that I think are great and that I think you could add to your tool bag. Now, honestly, I spent the first week or so trying everything out, and I started watching other videos and seeing how other people were talking about Dehancer and reviewing it. And at first I kind of wanted to do something different. I was thinking, well, I could just do a walkthrough and show you how I was using it on a real world situation and how I'd use it for the business and all this stuff. But then I started to realize that it was gonna be a really long video. And if you know me and you watched any of these channels, you know I like really long-winded videos. And it's just who I am. And you know, and I try to come up with concepts and ideas and scripts, and I realized that I like to be authentic. So sometimes my explanations or my videos kind of go off track, and you know, some people may like that and some people may not. So I had kind of just decided that I was going to spend this video just kind of talking about the pros and cons of Dehancer, and then I wanted to work on another video that was more of a walkthrough, and then I was going to release the video that I was working on during the walkthrough, and you can kind of see the final results. The reason why I kind of wanted to show it in action and just do like a review walkthrough is because I really feel like it is a great plugin for doing quick things like social media and doing dailies and offering a client a quick look at what their footage could look like by using this plugin. And what I learned is that there's also a lot more to it, and you can obviously throw the plugin on quick. You can set the camera profile. You can come to a pretty good image right away, or you can also use this plugin down your node tree line and really like use the power of both DaVinci Resolve and Dehancer. And so that's why I kind of wanted to make two different videos. And so today is kind of my main review and my pros and cons of what I think of Dehancer and if this plugin is right for you. Let's first talk about the cons. Now, I don't think that there's a lot of cons with this plugin. I think that the cons I do have is kind of me nitpicking, but as somebody who runs businesses and somebody who has an entrepreneurial mind and somebody who does web development and does these things, I thought that I could offer something that was a little bit different than just your main colorist or your main editor or somebody who's just only strictly does video, because my brain just kind of works different. I think that the first con is kind of an obvious con, but I don't really necessarily put it as a con in the long run. I really think that it's a con based on where you're at in your filmmaking journey or your YouTube journey or your directing journey, whatever journey you're on. It boils down to where are you in that line of work. So again, let's just keep it real. This is a really good plugin, and I think that you're definitely going to get the bang for your buck. But I think for some people, they just may look at it as a con or a turnoff, and that is the price of the plugin. The price of the plugin comes in at $450, and I think if you're somebody who is using something like Resolve or whatever, which comes in at like almost half the cost, which I think that is a story for another day, because I really don't know how Blackmagic keeps that cost without their editing software and color grading software, considering that it's used on so many big movies and stuff. I really don't understand how they keep it so cheap. It must be some sort of black magic. Don't. Okay. All right. Enough corny jokes, dad jokes aside. The reality is that I have used Resolve since 12 or 13. And, you know, I got it free with my Ursa when I bought my Ursa Mini Pro, which obviously wasn't a cheap camera, but I've had Resolve for life. Like, I get free updates for life. So, and then, you know, you could go buy the program by itself for $250 or something like that, $300, I think. Don't quote me on that. I haven't actually looked at the price in a long time because I've had it for a long time. So I would say that for some people, the price might be a turnoff when you're comparing it to, you know, the main editing program being half the cost. But if you're actually comparing it to, say, other film simulators, and I have another film simulator, I have Film Convert Nitrate, and since Dehancer is asking for my honest opinion, I've bought the other one, I can compare them. I think on the surface, you would see that Film Convert Nitrate is cheaper, a lot cheaper than Dehancer Pro. But Dehancer Pro has more features, and one of those features is halation. And I think that by having those features, they have a higher price point. And the reality is, if you actually go, and I did actually search this before I started talking about the pricing, is if you actually want the halation in Film Convert Nitrate, you have to pay another $179. So, you know, it may still be a little bit higher than that, but I think that you get a lot more features in Dehancer that you don't get in Film Convert Nitrate. And I'm not saying anything bad about Film Convert Nitrate. I also think it's a good plugin, and I think, again, all these things come down to what your needs are and what your tastes are. But I would say that I've had a lot more fun using Dehancer than I think I've had the whole time I've ever had Film Convert Nitrate. And now on the flip side, I think that it's also a pro, and I'm not gonna add it into the pros section, but I think that it's also a pro because if you do client work, or you are working on a documentary, or you are trying to get a look that is very quick, and you don't have a high budget where you can find a colorist, or you have the time to learn to be a colorist to make something look like a Kodak Vision 3 film or any other film that has that filmic look, then I think that it is more than worth the cost of what you're getting out of it. But if the price seems too steep for you, you could always just use my code, NC Design Co. And I think you save about $45, $40 to $45 on it. You save 10%. And the cool thing is I get 10% commission on that. So whatever you are saving, I also get that commission for every plugin that's sold. And hey, it's my first shameless self-promotion. So work with me here. If you like the video and you want to give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and also, you know, go pick up the Dehancer plugin. Just use my code. I know Dehancer would be grateful. I would be grateful. And yeah, you'd save a little bit of money. So anyways, okay, that's my shameless plug. We'll get back into the rest of it. There's a few more cons, and then we're going to get into the pros. So now this leads me to my second con. And again, I think it's just me nitpicking, but the one thing I've noticed is that there isn't very many actual video film simulations. And what I mean by that is that their main one that they promote is the Kodak Vision 3. And if you know anything about how film stock is, I'm no film stock expert, but I did do a little research. I actually use another site, and I'm not really plugging this, but it is a site I use. And if you do any work, it may be a site you like, but shotdeck.com is an amazing site. You can look up any movie, any camera, any film stock, and you can find what movies were shot on that camera, shot on that film stock, shot in all those different things, and the database is just amazing. So when I was researching this and trying to find, well, what other film stocks are there, you know, what does Dehancer really have, I started to learn that really the only one that I've noticed that's popped out to me, and again, Dehancer, you can email me and correct me if I'm wrong, is that there's really only the Kodak Vision 3. And though they do have the 50T, the 50D, I want to say, the 250D and T, I want to say, and then the 500. I think there's 4. I'm not looking at it right this second, but I think that there's 4 of the different versions, which, you know, is awesome to have, you know, those 4 different film stocks. But there is a lot of older film stocks, and when I was doing this research, I saw that there's like film stocks from like the 1980s, a bunch of Fujifilm style stocks. And sure, maybe you could get those looks with one of the other photo film stocks that they have, but I think as somebody who uses it with my video mindset, when I'm going into video and working on video mindset, I'm thinking, what video film emulation can I do? I'm not thinking I want my video to look like a Portra 300 photo or a Portra 400 photo. Sorry. I want it to look like Fujifilm 1880 or whatever. Like I'm shooting numbers out because I don't have that real number, so don't flame me on that. But the reality is that if you just do a quick search and even just go on, say, Wikipedia, you can find lists of different decades and what film stocks they use. Even the Kodak Vision 2, a lot of people said some people thought it was better than Kodak Vision 3. And so, you know, the fact that there is a lot of photo film emulations and not a lot of regular video film emulations on there, I think to me is kind of a con, because I just feel like it would be cool to choose something that represents like the look I'm going for, that is actually an emulation of another video film stock, and not have to try to find a photo stock and then tweak it and recreate it. Now, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but I think going to the fact that if you're trying to do something quick, the quicker you can get from point A to point B, the better off you are. Again, if this was me and the plugin I was building, and Dehancer, I know you're listening, I would probably separate it out and work on that. Now, is it a long-term goal? I don't know. I don't know their roadmaps or any of that. They didn't give me any indication of that. But what I would say is, for a filmmaker using a film simulation plug, it would be cool. And I know Film Convert Nitrate is also like this, and I think most of the film emulation plugs are like that. And I don't know what feedback they've gotten. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the one person who's thinking of this, but that's just, again, how my brain thinks. I feel like if I go use a plugin, I want to use other emulations of film stocks for video and not a photography film stock. I think you could move the photography stuff into the photo plugin, and you know, it's amazing. So this gets me into my last con, and my last con is that there is a lot of emulation plugins. I think there's like 64. And out of those 64, you have to drop down and not just highlight and do stuff like with Resolve now, especially since 15, you can just hover over a LUT or a look or whatever, and you can see what it looks like. You can preview it. Well, with the drop down, you have so many options that sometimes it just feels a little daunting. Like you're just going to go with what you know, like a Portra 400 or a Kodak Vision 3, put your print conversion on it and do your tweaks. It doesn't. Sometimes I feel like it hinders you wanting to explore different things and different looks and just be creative on it. You know, I just think that having something simpler that you could preview it, and I don't know if it's possible. I haven't made a NoFX plugin. I don't know how they work, but I just feel like if there was an easier way to hover over it, whether it's through the drop down or something, and actually see what the look like, I think would be a huge game changer on how things are now. I think having a better drop-down system would be better. And I also think that if you were able to add some more video side of film stock and not it mostly be in photo with one or two stocks that are actually more geared towards as what a real video film would look like. Could you load a Portra 400 and get the look of some other actual stock that you found, you know, doing your research through other movies or whatever and knowing what they shot on? You probably could. I'm not sure. I think a lot of the thoughts about this is that one of the enticements about doing a plugin is that you should hopefully be able to have that ability. And I feel like they try to give you that ability by having the camera profiles on there to just have something that meets your needs right away. And art is subjective, and you know, you could get from point A to point B, but the quicker you could do it, the more money you're able to make, the quicker you can move on. And I think those things really resonate when you're on a tight budget or you're working for a client that may not have a budget that, you know, it would take to hire a pro colorist and get a 1980s film look. So, you know, again, I think all these things are subjectives as cons, and that's just my idea. And that's just me kind of digging in and trying to kind of think of different things that I thought would be cons as compared to all the other videos out there. Now that we're done with the cons, let's move into the pros, because I think there's some great pros, and then we'll talk about if this is really right for you. So let's talk about the pros. I think Dehancer does what it says it wants to do, and it achieves what it wants to do, which is giving you an analog feel to working with your digital files. And it's not just in the film emulation that you check. They have your compression, your black points, your color heads, and, you know, in Resolve itself, you have 360-degree color wheel that you can pump color into your footage and do a look any crazy way you want. And with Dehancer, you have their color head section, which really only allows you to do yellow, blue, magenta, green, cyan, red, and all these things and all these sections of the plugin work in how you would do the process of real film development. And I think that's where Dehancer shines, that yes, it's a film emulation tool, but really their goal is to make it feel like you're in a dark room processing this film on film stock that you shot on your Panavision, whatever, for your masterpiece movie that you've done. But in reality, you're using a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera or a Sony FX30 or even a Red Digital and getting the looks that you want. And I think that's where Dehancer shines. As much as, you know, it is a film emulation. You can pick a film emulation. That is only one step of the process. And there's a lot of steps to the process that really allow you to tweak the image and get rich colors and looks that you want. And I think as you learn how easily something moves, like say on the color head, like a lot goes a little ways and you could tweak it back and forth, but you're still kind of compressed in those, you know, 3 specific colors back and forth, you know, 6 colors, but 3 sliders. Once you get your grasp on it, then you really can make your images pop and just have that real filmatic look to it. Now, obviously, this isn't apples to apples. I mean, I don't know that you're really ever going to use a plugin or anything and really get the film look that you want. I mean, there's a reason that a lot of Hollywood companies have gone back to shooting film or using that method of doing things, or never really leaving that method of doing things, is because you're not really going to ever make it look exactly the same. I mean, I shoot on a Fujifilm X100V and I love the thing, but I also shoot film photography, and I can easily tell the difference after shooting for a while what one is what. And, you know, even though Fuji does a really good job, and the people who work on the recipes, the communities that work on the recipes do a really good job, it doesn't have the same exact look. And so to say that you're going to get the same exact look would just be like kind of robbing yourself of that. But the reality is that it really gives you a good look that emulates that the best it can. And let's just be honest, art is subjective. And I think that at the end of the day, it's really about telling a story through your lighting, your color, your scripting, all those things bring a story together. And, you know, and this is just one of those things that you add to your tool bag or your repertoire that could help you tell your story. And I think that that's what makes it an amazing plugin, is that it's another tool that you could use to get to your endpoint quicker to hopefully tell the story that you're trying to tell. So again, I didn't want to get into details about every slider and how everything works and this and that. I really wanted it to be a pros and cons. I really think that the cons are me nitpicking and the pros are just how good the plugin is overall. And the thought of just seeing it as a film emulation plugin is just kind of robbing it of what it really does. And I think that if you want something that kind of is easy to work with, even if you're not into doing nodes or you don't really know much about DaVinci and you're really trying to get a look, this plugin can get you there really quickly and help you achieve what you want to do and do your storytelling that way. And so I think it boils down to the last question, is this really for you? And I think I pretty much already said if it is or not and who it would be for. And I think that, you know, obviously if you're shooting commercials or if sports videos or anything that's like high contrast, high look, you know, bright, commercial type stuff, this isn't going to be for you. But if you're a documentary maker and you, like say me, shoot in a rainforest, or you need certain looks, or you just have an aesthetic that you want, then this plugin is for you. I mean, if you have clients who want a specific look and they have dailies, or you're a feature filmmaker that doesn't have a budget or doesn't have the cameras you think you have, shooting on, say, a Sony FX30, you can achieve the look that you're looking for very quickly. And there's a lot that you can dive into with the plugin that gets you the results you want. And if you watch the intro or you watch any of the befores and afters that I show on this screen, you can see that you could really get to what you're looking for, and you can convey a story with your colors and your emulation and your grading and your grain, and really tell the story that you want to tell. If that's you, then I think this is a perfect plugin for you. I personally am more excited to use this plugin. I have a lot of projects coming up, and I hope to focus on the other video I'm going to do, which is a walkthrough. I want to show the final video. I have some other projects I'm working on that I think this is going to be great for, and I'm really thankful that Dehancer reached out to me, offered me a code. Again, if you want to save 10%, you can use my code NCDesignCo. Give the video a thumbs up, like and subscribe for more content about business, about filmmaking, about photography, about my life living in Southeast Alaska, running my businesses. That is what this channel is about, and I want to try to keep it as real, as authentic as I can. I am thankful that they found me. I'm thankful that they reached out to me, and I hope that I did my video review of them justice. And if you haven't yet, go pick up Dehancer Pro, save 10%, and I'll see you guys in the next video.